But, you know, Billy Owens, I've liked this game. He can really do some good things where he pass it, shoot it. But most importantly, if he can get LaRon Ellis in the game, it really helps his club.
By the way, we watched Syracuse practice those passes yesterday. Coffey's shot off the baseline doesn't go, and here comes Thompson. Syracuse down by 1, 4:45 to play. All the way across court to Scott. Coleman lost the handle. On the floor, picked off by Minnesota. Lynch for Newburn.
Lynch makes the block. He turned the defense all the way around. C.B. Thompson never found Newburn because Lynch turned him, and he was able to get it to him at the last second.
18 points for Melvin Newburn. And a 3-point lead for the Golden Gophers. Scott for 3. Scott with the foul. Missed it. Here comes Newburn for Lynch. And Lynch lost it. Clem Haskins asking for a little patience from his team. And timeout, Syracuse. 3:54 to play. Clem Haskins and his crew lead it by 3.
If you want to move ahead in any career, you have to know what most employers want. Like how to work with a team, how to handle responsibility, how to take on a tough job and see it through. You can learn all these things in the Army, so when you do set off on the road to success, you'll already be in the driver's seat.
It's a quiet afternoon in Ford County.
Flossy shopping?
Yep, said she had a fistful of coupons. Said she's going to get $5 back.
That's nothing. Guy up the road is getting hundreds back.
On grocery?
Oh, nope, on a new Chevy truck.
But with cashback incentives, the benefits of purchasing now grow exponentially over the term of the contract.
Cashback. No wonder people from Ford prefer Chevy trucks. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. Today's truck is Chevrolet.
What's it take to win in college basketball? What's it take to win in 7-Up's college basketball championship game? That hard work could win you a limited edition Ford Mustang or a chance at prizes worth $20 million. So start practicing. 1 in 12 are winners.
Midwest semifinal action last night. Arkansas, the winner over North Carolina, and a strong Texas team beating Xavier. That leads to an Arkansas-Texas matchup in Game 2 of tomorrow's doubleheader. And that's just the Southwest Conference renewal. That'll be a dandy. That's Game 2 of the doubleheader tomorrow coming from Reunion Arena in Dallas. And a reminder, later this evening, we'll bring you Game 2 of the Southeast Regional Semifinals here in New Orleans between the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the Spartans of Michigan State. Minnesota still popping at a 75% clip here in the second half.
They come out of the timeout and go man-to-man. Richard Coffey is trying to guard Derek Coleman. Syracuse needs to get the ball to Coleman. It's just too difficult for Coffey or anybody to handle by themselves.
Ellis had the shot and was fouled by Shikenjansky. Ellis had the shot, passed it up, and was looking to pass the ball when he was fouled.
He didn't look very confident, Greg. I watched him, and he had this hesitation in his eye, and he did the wise thing. If you're not confident to go right up and stick it, then the best thing to do is to move the basketball. That time he moves himself and calls the foul.
Ellis, only a 52% shooter from the line, and he's 1 for 4 tonight. Connell Lewis, Walter Bond out of the game. Willie Burton, Kevin Lynch back in for Minnesota.
Well, they got the 2 star players, obviously, in the game. Bond goes and takes the breather. But with LaRon Ellis on the foul line, the other thing he had is David Johnson has come back in the game, and it's a bigger lineup. So that's what Clem Haskins was trying to counter that by getting his players back in the game. He got both Newberg and Burton and Lynch in the game so they can match the height.
Ellis hits them both.
Syracuse has put on their full court press.
Good ball handling by the Gophers gets it over. 72-71, Minnesota with the lead and the basketball.
here, Minnesota is going to, if you will, aggressively try to milk the clock. They're still going to attack, but they're not going to do it quickly. They'll use 20 seconds off the clock.
Willie Burton with 4 fouls. Owens trying to draw the charge and the 5th foul, and Jim Boeheim wanting the call but not getting it.
This is a mismatch. Burton should take this one.
Inside, falling bodies, loose ball, and here comes Syracuse. Owens foul. Owens foul from behind by Coffey, and that's 4 on Coffey.
But that was a great effort there, because if he doesn't hustle, Billy Owens has a chance to throw the ball off to Stevie Thompson, who was out ahead. Jimmy Boeheim's pleased that his crew got there, but you got to give Richard Coffey credit, because he stopped a sure fast break there.
So you've got Coffey with 4 personals out there, Burton with 4 personals.
Well, they have just hurt themselves tremendously from the foul line.
As a team on the season, Syracuse shoots 65%. But as we said, 80% in the first 2 tournament games, but it's been just horrendous tonight.
And should the game continue as it's going now with Minnesota leading, that's the one thing that Syracuse has to look to as the weakness that caused them the game.
Burton got it. That's the 2-pointer. 10 points for Willie Burton, 3-point Gopher lead. 2:15 to play and timeout on the floor. Coming down the home stretch, Syracuse down 3. We'll be right back.
Nothing beats number 1. Nothing beats the king of beer. Nothing beats clean, crisp, and cold. This is the best that you got around here. Nothing beats the bud, yeah, nothing beats the bud, yeah, nothing beats the Budweiser. Nothing beats the bud.
This young woman is an owner of a major U.S. corporation, and she can't wait to get to work.
Okay, you're all set with the Cadillac.
Avis Incorporated is the only major rent-a-car company owned by its corporate employees.
Cadillac for $49 a day, how'd you swing that? I know the owner.
Get fast service on a Cadillac for $49 a day. At Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
Okay, kids. Today we're going to demonstrate a discovery that could change your lives. Oh, really?
It's the Nobel Prize-winning discovery by IBM scientists of a more practical superconductor that carries electricity with no resistance and makes magnetic objects defy gravity. This discovery is fascinating not only scientists, but future scientists. Advances in superconductivity. IBM technology at work.
Should be a pretty good 2:15, don't you think? Minnesota leading Syracuse 74-71. Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome, everyone. There's the timeout situation. No one has a foul to give, and should the ball be tied up, Syracuse will get it. Greg Gumbel along with Quinn Buckner reminding you that coming up next here on CBS, we continue to travel the road to the Final Four. Georgia Tech, Michigan State here in New Orleans. Ball State against Nevada, Las Vegas out in Oakland, California.
We got ball handling at a premium here, so they got Michael Edwards back in the game so he can handle the basketball. You see coming out in the 1-3-1 this time is Minnesota. Again, keep the ball on the perimeter. Scott just threw that one right out of bounds.
And Jim Boeheim wants a substitution right away. LaRon Ellis coming in. So will Dave Johnson, and Kevin Lynch back into the game for Minnesota along with Walter Bond.
The switches are for defense and offense. For Syracuse, they want their better, taller team in, defensive team. For Minnesota, they want their best ball handling and free throw shooting team in the contest.
So both coaches working feverishly to get the matchups they want on the floor. Under 2 minutes to play.
Man-to-man. Syracuse is in man-to-man, and they can do that because they got Michael Edwards out. He's too short to guard anybody.
Clem Haskins will want nothing but patience here.
No, he really does. You don't want to take away your aggressiveness of your team, but you tell them, all right, we're going to let the air out. You can be aggressive, but let's do it with about 10 seconds to go on the clock.
Newburn to the baseline and back out to Lynch. Shot clock is at 15. Newbern to the baseline. Oh, what a shot.
See, I'm telling you, Melvin Newbern can go. He does things like this all the time, but he just has those lapses.
20 points for Melvin Newbern, and timeout, Syracuse. A minute 16 to play. Syracuse has that much time to make up a 5-point deficit.
This is the Chevrolet Lumina that won the 1990 Daytona 500. To what do we attribute this phenomenal finish? Maybe it's this phenomenal start. The 1990 Chevrolet Lumina Coupe. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
The heartbeat of America. It's the day Chevrolet.
Yo, Morris Blackman in the house with action photos, my main man Money. This is Money slamming in Detroit, in Philly, Boston. Must be a bird's eye view. D.C., L.A., the Yak. Shut up, I'm doing a Nike commercial here. Shut up. The other L.A., Texas. Yeehaw! Denver, from Sirius Hangtown, must be the mountain air. San Francisco, Moscow, Paris, oui. Walla Walla, Budapest, Be Tranquility.
Now, when you buy 2 B.F. Goodrich TA tires, get a Final Four commemorative NCAA basketball free. Buy 4, get an NCAA bag, hat, and basketball free. And after you're geared up, enter to win a 1990 Oldsmobile Cutlass Calais and a trip to the 1991 Final Four. Look for free NCAA gear at your B.F. Goodrich TA tire dealer.
B.F. Goodrich.
Welcome back to the Louisiana Superdome here in New Orleans. Game 1 of the Southeast Regional Semifinals. Minnesota leading Syracuse 76-71. Greg Gumbel along with Quinn Buckner. We welcome those of you who've been watching Loyola Marymount against Alabama. Minnesota in the dark jerseys on your screen. Syracuse in white. With the ball, they trail by 5. And Minnesota has been lighting it up in the second half. They are shooting 78% from the floor.
Well, they've come out and played much aggressive on the defensive end. That's where they've got a lot of their points. It's just forcing turnovers and moving down the other side.
David Edwards got that bucket, and a foul is called now on Billy Owens. Billy Owens has been the man who has been behind the Syracuse attack. He has now drawn his 4th personal foul. Told you about the field goal percentages, and Syracuse has had a share of problems from the free throw line, while guard Melvin Newbern has been the spark plug for the Golden Gophers with 20 points.
Well, he came out at the half, Greg, and he scored the first 6 points for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. But Kevin Lynch has been a player who's played well. He came out, he knocked down a couple 3-pointers. He's a good player. They have about 4 or 5 players that you probably haven't heard of, but they can get it done.
Walter Bond's free throw there wasn't even close.
Yeah, if you mean it was a brick, you're right.
3-point Minnesota lead. Time remaining in the game, 45 seconds.
You got to get the ball to Derek Coleman, I mean, because Minnesota doesn't have to take another shot.
That's a 3-point shot that misses there, and Minnesota with a big rebound. Kevin Lynch fouled in the backcourt by Coleman. The lady hiding her face in the center of your screen is Yvette Haskins, the wife of head coach Clem Haskins for Minnesota. Clem doesn't have time to worry about Yvette just now. He's a little busy.
Got something he's trying to get communicated here. Clem has had his club in his position before. Last year, they win the semifinals of the regional, and the players, like anybody else for the first time, were a little excited. This year, they come with the purpose of winning the game. That man on the foul line has had as much impact on the game as anybody else, and I'm sure Clem Haskins and the rest of the Golden Gophers know that as well.
Kevin Lynch has 17 points now, 15 of them in the second half. He's a 78% free throw shooter. And he nails another one. And Clem Haskins wants timeout. 32 seconds. All that stands between Clem Haskins and victory.
With so much to do and so little time, When it's time to finance or lease your new GM vehicle, let GMAC do it right in the dealership. GMAC. Nobody wants to get you into your new GM car or truck faster, so you'll have time for more important things.
Pizza Hut presents the 3-point play. Right now, put up $8.99 and pick either 1, a meat lover's pizza, 2, a cheese lover's plus pizza, or 3, a pepperoni lover's pizza. Or for just $12.99, pick any 2 of the 3. So go for the 3-point play. That's 1 for $8.99, or any 2 of the 3 for $12.99. Now that's one deal you don't want to miss.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Matt,
Uh-huh.
are you awake?
Yeah. Are you?
No. Matt, I never had a baby before.
Oh, me neither.
I'm happy, are you?
Yeah. I'm a little scared, though.
You know, we'll need a bigger place.
Amy?
Yeah?
I love you.
Oh, Matt.
We'll be okay.
We will.
I promise.
Mass Mutual. We help you keep your promises.
That's what's happening out in Oakland, California with just over 6 minutes to play. Alabama pulled a big victory over Arizona on Sunday and is now leading Loyola Marymount. Here we have just over half a minute to play. Minnesota by 5 over Syracuse. Greg Gumbel along with Quinn Buckner. Minnesota with 3 timeouts remaining. Syracuse down to 1. And Edwards pushing the ball up the floor. 3-pointer on the way. No. Big rebound and a foul underneath.
Well, you know you've got to give Clem Haskins some credit. I mean, he's got his team obviously in the position to win, but they were talking about it, I mean, all of Minnesota about getting respect, and they knew if they could get this far and win this game, people will start paying more attention to the Minnesota Gophers, and they've got themselves a great shot at winning this game.
That is 5 personal fouls on Billy Owens. And Owens a little reluctant to leave the floor.
No, Billy's doing the right thing. Let him tell you it's time to go out of the game. I mean, he played a great game. He's been struggling, and then he started to get his offense going. But Derek Coleman never really got in the game. And Billy Owens was the guy that carried the load, and then Billy went flat, and nobody else picked it up.
18 points, 9 rebounds for Owens. Big free throws from Walter Bond here. The 6'5" junior from Chicago, a 68% free throw shooter on the season. Minnesota by 7. No shot clock.
They just go back here. The only thing if you're Minnesota, you don't foul. You see Minnesota still hustling.
Coleman for Thompson, and he gets the bucket, and Syracuse uses its last timeout with 14 seconds to play, and Minnesota's lead is 5. We'll be right back.
Every evening, we pack 700,000 passengers onto our planes. No drinks are served, no meals are prepared. Yet our customers love our service, like our UPS Next Day Air letter. Guaranteed overnight delivery to any address coast to coast. And at just $9, far less than other companies charge, no one seems to mind that there's no in-flight movie.
Now, when you buy 2 BF Goodrich TA tires, get a Final Four commemorative NCAA basketball free. Buy 4, get an NCAA bag, hat, and basketball free. And after you're geared up, enter to win a 1990 Oldsmobile Cutlass Calais and a trip to the 1991 Final Four. Look for free NCAA gear at your BF Goodrich TA tire dealer.
BF Goodrich TA tires.
You've been staring out there all day. What are you doing?
Trying to figure out which computer is the most powerful.
Well, that's easy. The one with the most memory, megahertz, MIPS, you know.
No, I don't think so.
There we go.
I think the most powerful computer is the one that people actually use.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you look at computers.
That's not really a fair comparison. People like using the Mac.
Welcome back to New Orleans, everyone. Minnesota leading it by 5 with 14 seconds to play. You heard that man talk about that tough defeat to Indiana a couple of years ago here in the Superdome, but it hasn't been the Dome so much tonight as it's been Minnesota.
Well, they've really played well, and the guy we thought would play well, Willie Burton, really hasn't. But Newberg came in. He got 20 points. Lynch has 18, and Richard Coffey had 12 points, 11 rebounds. And most notably, Greg, they were poised. Minnesota never let Syracuse get that big run, and they were able to stay in the game, and that's what's got them in there. Clem Haskins is doing it absolutely as it was in the game, kept it together.
This is the first time in school history Minnesota has played in an NCAA tournament 2 consecutive years. Minnesota beat Texas El Paso in overtime in Richmond, then beat Northern Iowa 81-78. And they've got the man they want at the free throw line.
Yeah, Kevin Lynch, he's had a big game. I mean, he hit those 3-pointers, and from there you could sense kind of a rise out of all of the players on Minnesota because Kevin Lynch didn't shoot very well in the first half.
Tip-in is good by Willie Burton.
I think that sums it up. They've been able to do just about anything they needed to do when they had to.
Don't take it out. Thompson's 3 is no good. Out of bounds belongs to Minnesota.
Got to be Minnesota's ball.
Alabama leading Loyola Marymount. You will see the end of that game following this one. And that's it.
Well, Greg, I said this to you. I thought Minnesota had a chance to beat Syracuse, but I tell you what, that guy in the center of the screen has really done it. Clem Haskins.
Minnesota goes 23-8. Stephen Thompson's career at Syracuse comes to a very bitter end here on the floor of the Superdome in New Orleans. As does Derek Coleman, a likely first pick in the NBA draft.
Well, he's over right now, but he'll get a chance to play some more. You see Melvin Newberg celebrating. That's Rick Bay, the athletic director at Minnesota, congratulating Clem Haskins on what was just an outstanding coaching job.
Think Willie Burton is happy? Syracuse, the number 2 seed in the Southeast, eliminated by 6th-seeded Minnesota. And Clem Haskins lives to fight another day. Golden Gophers in double-figure scoring, led by Melvin Newbern, who had 20 points.
But they got great play from everybody. You know, we talked about it. Lynch started to pick it up. He played well. Martin comes off the bench in the first half. You don't expect anything from him off the bench. He takes Chicken Jansky's plays well. Everybody came in and contributed on the part of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and they haven't been given respect. And I think that's what caught Syracuse. They haven't heard about these kids, but now everybody in America knows the Golden Gophers can play.
Outstanding performance here for Quinn Buckner. I'm Greg Gumbel in New Orleans. Our final score, game 1 of the Southeast Regional Semis. Minnesota 82, Syracuse 75. Minnesota will now face the winner of the Georgia Tech-Michigan State game coming up later this evening. Our Chevrolet Most Valuable Players, Melvin Newbern of Minnesota and Billy Owens of Syracuse. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Championship. Right now, let's take you back to Jim Nance in our studio in New York.